Hello, ja. Hi and welcome to episode 34. I'm Maja. You can find me as sjomajlin on Ravelry and Instagram and on YouTube. Hi. I missed you last week. I was... Sorry. I just pulled my foot up underneath me and I had an itch and it felt weird. It's on the spot that I burnt. Wait, what? That was weird. Hi. I had a terrible cold last week. A cold and fever, but it was not the flu, thankfully. But I was down. So, as I posted on Instagram and in the Ravelry group, I think, I was just not up to it. I'm better now, but I am still coughing. And they tell me that this cough will last for 8 weeks. Oh, and I sing for a living. Yeah, so I am gonna cough in your ears today, and I'm sorry, but that's just it. I have some water and have some tea, so hopefully it will be okay. But I did miss you. That was the first time that I've actually missed recording. I did miss uploading when I was on vacation in January. Sorry, in January, because I was away for 2 weeks, so I missed uploading that week, but I actually did record on location that week. So this, or last week, this time, is the first time that I've missed since I started in, when was it? Late August, I think. So that was a milestone, yes. But now I'm back, and as I said, I'm doing okay. I'm tired, and I'm still, you know, a bit... But I'm doing good, so no worries. And I did mention that I did spill boiling water on my foot a few weeks back, and it has healed. There's still some dead skin left, and that's where I had an itch, and it just felt weird, and I just had to check, and it turned out all weird. But it's good. It's good. I'm good. So it's been 2 weeks. It's been Easter. We had a calm family get-together on Sunday, and the rest of the Easter weekend I just stayed home, actually, coughing, blowing my nose. So nothing really much has happened. I'm trying to think what happened the week before that. Was there anything I want to update you guys about? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Yeah. Spring is coming here. The flowers are starting to, what do you say, like poke up through the ground. And we've had, well, we have a bit of a saying that it's April weather, that has to do sort of with April Fools, that the weather is very unpredictable and untrustworthy. Is that even a word? It might be sunshine and warm, and then 30 seconds later it might be snowing. It hasn't been really that bad, but we've had some really nice sunshine time the last weeks. But as soon as you get out of the sun and in the shadow and the wind is blowing, it's freezing. So it's kind of hard to know how to dress these days, but it's in the better way, because it might get warm rather than... Well, I guess that depends on how you look at it. Well, anyway, I've been sitting out in the sun a lot and enjoying it, and knitting and soaking up the sunlight. Yeah. And some work and some stuff, and not a lot has happened really. So it's been 2 weeks, and my tea is running over. I don't know what happened. It's been 2 weeks since last. I'm not gonna sneeze. I'm pretending that there's no pollen, even though it's spring. No pollen this year. It's been 2 weeks, and part of that time has been spent by me mostly sitting. I was, like, even when I had a fever, I was not, what do you say, bedbound? I wasn't that bad. I could sit and watch TV, or I don't have a TV, but on my computer, and knit, and then I knit heavily down, but I wasn't, you know, out. I was semi-out. So I've been knitting. So I have quite some progress to show you guys. And I just realized that I lined my stuff up properly tight against the tripod that the camera is standing on. So I need to shake you guys just a little bit right now. Sorry. Wasn't that bad, right? I have some stuff in this squeaking bag of mine. I could have planned this a bit better, I suppose. Oh, I didn't mention, this is Friday the 10th of April, by the way, that I'm recording. I usually say that up front, what day it is. So I've been stacking things up, things that I want to talk about. I've been just stacking it up in this basket, not to forget anything. And now I just realized that the things, because I want to have it in sort of chronological order. So I just realized that the stuff I put in first is, of course, in the bottom. Okay, so first up, I have finished the socks. Excuse me, out of my handspun. I believe I was sort of halfway through the second sock when I last recorded. So I finished both of them. I haven't worn them because I wanted to save them. I'm not gonna soak them and block them. Actually, I spun this yarn up in, well, this fall. And I soaked and didn't block, but I soaked the yarn back then, and got rid of some of the oils and fats in the yarn, or the fiber. And now I'm thinking I want to save what's left for my feet. And then when I've been wearing them for a while, of course I will wash the socks, but so these are finished. I've talked about them before. I did the blueberry waffle texture to them. I knit them toe up on Magic Loop, and I tried the sweet tomato heel, which is a good heel. I haven't tried it before, so this was my first attempt at it. In, well, what do you say, retrospect? I should have made it shorter, the actual heel. But I did them the same. I didn't feel, I mean, it doesn't bother me enough to actually rip it out, since I'm gonna have them as mostly like bed socks. I'm not gonna wear these in shoes or anything, so, you know, doesn't really matter. So I knitted these on 2mm needles. The yarn is a little bit, in some places I felt that maybe I should have gone up a needle size with this yarn because it wasn't really that thin. But then in some places it was. So, very uneven spun yarn. I am absolutely not a spinner yet, but I try, and I'm really happy with these socks. They are very squishy and soft and lovely. So I finished them. And I'm pulling them off because I had another pair of socks to show you in a minute. And then, last time I recorded, I told you that I had skeined up and almost decided on what to use, or what to knit, what pattern to knit in my Malabrigo. Malabrigo sock, the colorway Caribeno or something like that. And I was talking about that the yarn was so beautiful, and I had been just admiring the skein or the hank of it, and I was a little bit afraid to wind it up into a cake because I was afraid it would be ugly, and it was so beautiful in the cake. And I hadn't brought it last time, and I promised you that I would show it to you next time. I have to go back a little bit on that promise because I actually finished the shawl that I was knitting, so I can show you the scraps. It's quite a lot left, and it's super squishy. What it looks like on my little screen is not really what it looks like in real life. It's a bit more tealy, like green tones in real life than what it is on my little screen. I don't know what it's gonna show up like. It depends upon your computer and stuff, right? And I just realized I need to fish up my little tea bag over here. I just got home from work and I was so excited to record because I missed you. So I just boiled the tea water and sat down. And also 2 weeks ago the daylight savings happened, and spring is springing, so the days are much longer. I did record on a Friday afternoon just a few weeks ago, and I was a bit worried that the light would fade. I'm not at all worried about that now, because we have, well, since then I guess we have like 2 hours more of daylight in the evening, so that's not a worry, but I was anxious to start. Okay, so I have this left over, as I said, and I have a finished object, but if I had not had it, if I wouldn't have it finished, how do I even say this? Normally I would show it to you as a work in progress before I had it finished, right? And then I would talk about what it was before I showed it to you. So I'm gonna do that. I found on Ravelry a pattern that I'm not at all sure what it's called. It's in Finnish, and I don't know Finnish at all, but something like Nurmilintu by Heidi Alander, I don't know, who also designed the meadow grass shawl that I made some time ago. The name Nurmilintu comes from an old Finnish lullaby, Nuku Nuku Nurmilintu. Free translation, sleep, sleep, little bird. It's free on Ravelry, and I'm just gonna show you the first page right here, but there is a picture of what it looks like. So it is garter stitch. I can show you just this. Oh, I'm totally blanking on the word. What's it called? It's like, well, it's not a blueprint. Oh, I know this word. Well. And it's a garter stitch, and then there are 3 lace borders in it, and you can make it longer if you want to with more lace borders, but I didn't have enough yarn to do that. So you do cast on, oh, my shoulder, in the one edge, and then it's widening, and then, so it's a kind of a triangular shawl, and then one of the, like the shorter of the, well, the shortest edge really is the bind off edge. So I started this, and it smells lovely from the from the soak. And with variegated or striping, or, you know, less than semi-solid colors, yarns, it's always a bit scary to know what it will look like. First, as I said, I was a bit apprehensive to skein or cake the yarn up, because I was afraid it would not look as pretty in the cake. And then I was a bit scared or apprehensive to start knitting with it, because I was afraid that it would pull or flash in a bad way. And I think that every shawl or item that I've seen that is knit in a, well, widening shape excuse me, is pulling somewhere, because I guess that is just what goes on with the yarn, since if it is consistently, the color repeats are consistent within the yarn, however long or short they are, it's gonna play weird with the rows getting longer or wider with each row, right? So I was a bit scared, but I started it, and you can see that it is, it's a bit too bright on my little screen anyway. And there were a few places I was like, no, that doesn't look so good, but it's okay. And then there is the first lace repeat. And then here, between the first and the second, it's somewhat flashy, right? But I think it's okay. It could have been much worse. But compared to the rest, this section is a bit more like, well, flashy. And then there is the second lace part, and then another garter, and then the final lace part and the picot bind off. And I'm really happy with it. It's my wingspan in length, pretty much, and you can drape it either, it's not that deep, so you can either have it like on around your shoulders like that, and I can or it lays really good around your neck, something like that. And the lace is showing off, just, it's not, you know, that sort of braggy lace, which I do not mean in a bad way, because braggy lace can be awesome, but when the lace is like, you know, here I am. But this is a bit more like humble. Yeah. So I really like this. It took me about a week to knit, but I didn't do, you know, very much else that week. It was when I was home, coughing and blowing my nose most of the time. So I did knit this on size 3.5 millimeter needles. I used my fixed circular Knit Pro Carbon. I didn't bring it right now, I believe, but I used it. The yarn calls for, does it even say? What? It calls for 2.25 dash 0.25 millimeters. That must be something wrong, right? Does it focus? I guess you can see anyway. Yes, I don't really know, but maybe I used a little bit of a size up. But a shawl is in a shawl it doesn't really matter if it's a bit more airy. It might even be a good thing. So when I was nearing the end, I weighed it. I weighed the ball, and then I knit, you know, back and back. What do you say? Like one round, even though it wasn't in the round. What do you say? Like two rows, back and yeah. And then I weighed it out again, and I didn't have enough to make another section and then another lace part. And I was thinking for a while that I could just elongate the lace section, but then I thought, like, no, you know, that would be unbalanced or so. So I have quite a lot left of this, and I don't really know what to make, but I don't really have plans for it, but I'm sure I will think of something. I should rewind it though, because it's super floppy, so I'm gonna do that. So I made that. Excuse me. And then, when I was home feeling miserable, I asked a friend to go get some groceries. Well, Patrick, you know him by now. I asked him if he could go get some groceries for me, because I didn't feel up for, you know, going out to see people. And so he got me some groceries, and he also got me a skein of yarn, which I've used, but I'm gonna show you this first. It's a raggi järbo, so it's a self-striping thick sock yarn. I don't know if it's you know, what weight it is, because we don't really do that. It's 150 meters for 100 grams, so it's pretty heavy yarn. So I got that. So I thought that maybe I could make some short socks, like short, with a very, very short cuff. You know, like sport socks with it. So I started it from the top, making a very short cuff and then making the heel flap, and then I weighed it and I was like, whoa, no way, absolutely not. So I ripped it out and then I cast on and I made a little hat, just as simple as that, with some slanting decreases at what do you say, like knit two together SSK, right up next to each other on both sides, and then I did a 3 needle bind off for the middle part, and then a little tassel. And I like this colorway. It's very nature, like a forest and the blue sky with the clouds and maybe a river or something. It turned out pretty big, and now I have my hair up so it will look weird, but it turned out pretty big. But I'm thinking I don't know, I don't have anyone in mind for this, but I'm thinking I will stick it in my sort of gift basket for now, and if I think that I want to give it to someone, I will, or I'm gonna give it to charity. It's not really, even though it can still be, you know, really, really cold, and we might have like a cool spell, what do you say? When you might need a hat. So hat season is not over, but if you did get through till now, you're probably already have a hat, so it's not really, you know, hat giving season. So I'm thinking I'll just save this for now until, you know, the fall-ish. And then I'll either gift it to someone or pop it into some charity. Yeah. So it was just a quick easy knit. But it was just really what I needed, so that was good. Okay, so I am trying to think that I say these things in the right order now. It doesn't really matter, but it just matters to me that I want to do this in some sort of chronological order. Excuse me, I need to stretch out that leg that I had folded up underneath me. When I was home, feeling miserable, and I sort of wanted to cast something on, and I didn't really have that needle size, and I don't really know what I was thinking, and I was looking at an online shop for some Knit Pro Carbon DPNs. Because I've been wanting them, and they are not, well, they are a tiny bit pricey. Well, they're not expensive, but they are not like your basic. Yeah, and then I was like, but I want that size, and maybe I want that size. And they had this kit with different sizes, and it was, you know, not unexpensive. And since I had I had my car to the workshop again yesterday, and there's just, you know, been things, and me not working full time right now, so I was like, I really shouldn't. And so I was complaining a little bit, and then to Patrick, and he was like, how much is it? And I was like, well, it's about this much, too much. And he was like, let me pay it. And I was like, are you sure? And he convinced me. So I ordered a set of carbon, oh, the glare, carbons DPNs, sorry. And it came like this. These were actually over here, so there was a gap here. And it's 2mm needles, and then we have 2.5, and then we have 3.5 and 5mm, no, 4mm. 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4mm needles. And then I did have my, and they are currently occupied, I did have the set of Knit Pro Carbons since before that were 2.75 mil needles. So they fit perfectly in here, right? So that's why I did move, because these are 2.5, so I did move them over so that 2.75 goes between 2.5 and 3. And I've been using these. A bit, yeah. Some different ones. It's been a bit weird actually, but yeah. So I was very, very happy when these came. And then when I ordered them, I was like, you know what? It's very irresponsible of me as their new owner to let them travel alone. You know? I couldn't, so I had to order some yarn as well. So I ordered just, you know, a basic Cascade 220 fingering in a grey, and I'm thinking it will go with this that I had since before, kind of teal blue color. So this is just a neutral to go with it to make something sometime. Because you know the needles can't travel by themselves; they need some yarn. So they got here safely. I haven't decided what to make with these, but it'll be something. They'll go good together. Yeah, so I was very, very happy to receive these needles. Mostly, the yarn was not as exciting as the needles. Yeah, so, my nose is itching. So with those new size 2 mil carbons, I decided to make a pair of socks. And I didn't bring the scraps with a ball band. I made a pair of socks. This yarn was gifted to me as a Christmas gift from a friend who lives in Stockholm, who had bought this yarn. It's not, well, it is a sock yarn. I believe it's 75-25 wool polyamide. It might be 70-30, but I guess it was 75-25. And it's not from like a real yarn brand. It was like from a kind of a novelty store, I would say. But I guess the ball band had just their name on it, but I guess it's, you know, it comes from, you know, the same mill as a lot of other yarns, I suppose. So I knit this mismatched socks, and I did and it looks weird. Maybe it's because I wore them for just like a few hours when I was cold. I did the fish lips kiss heel. I tried it and I like it. And I'm trying to show it to you. It doesn't really come across since I used them. It's supposed to look like, you know, a fish lips kiss, like. But I really think they look more like a, oh, I looked this up. What do you say, moray eel? Is that what you say? But I did soak them and let them dry. I didn't really block them because they were pretty much, they were pretty loose on my blockers. Excuse me. But that flattened the heel out a bit, and then as I said, I wore them for a couple of hours a night when I was cold. One night, maybe I should say. But the fish lips kiss heel, try it if you haven't. It's really, really good. I know that a lot of the American podcasters talk about it as, you know, oh, it's just $1. When I bought it, it was $1.25. I guess that is because I'm in Europe and that VAT tax thing. I do believe that extra amount that I had to pay goes to that somehow. So I'm just saying it, that it's not $1, at least not if you're in Sweden. I guess it's the same in Europe. But really that extra, I mean, it's not that much, and it's worth it. So do try the fish lips kiss heel if you haven't. And as all the others say, you know, don't be frightened by the amount of text in the actual pattern, because you can skip. It's it gives a lot of information. You don't need all of it to make the heel, but it's good to have it as well. So don't let that scare you. So I did these, as I said, on my 2.5, no, my new 2 mil needles. Top down with the Fish Lips Kiss heel with a short cuff. And I decided to make them mismatched, and I think that they are really, really fun. The blue looks a bit washed out. Well, the pink also, really. They are bright pink, and this is like a very tealy blue. Or not bright, but hot, I would say. Well, I made this for me. Just, you know, a fun pair of socks. They were very, very quick to knit. And maybe that was because I've said before that I like the heel flap and gusset heel. Excuse me. I don't mind knitting it, and I like the fit of it very much. But I want to try some other stuff as well. But with different sort of afterthought heels, there is always, you know, that the feeling, or in me, I get the feeling that, you know, it doesn't really matter when I finish, like the tube of the sock, because it's not finished anyway. I have to go back and do the heel, even though it's pretty quick to do, but there's, you know, still that thing to do. But with these, since I did the heel, it looks like an afterthought heel, but you make it as you go. And with that, the socks were pretty much done, you know. In my mind they were anyway, so they knitted up. I knitted these pretty quickly, and I'm happy with them. Yes. And then, so those are all the finished objects that I have. And then for Easter, the tradition is that we give each other these like paper mache sort type eggs with a bunch of candy in it. I know that in English you say Easter chocolate. I don't know if that is because it's mostly chocolate or if that is just, you know, sort of the saying, but we traditionally have all sorts of candy. But I've been, when I give these Easter egg gifts to my family, I've been trying to give other things than just candy, because I think that, you know, other things might be nice to get and to give. And so my mom sort of caught on to that, and so she asked me a few weeks back, you know, well, what would you like to have in your egg? And I was like, maybe a nice yarn. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, yeah, I like yarn and I like tea. And I think I might have said something more, and she was like, yeah. And so on Sunday I got to, we were supposed to meet after church, and since I was supposed to sing with my choir, but since I was absolutely not in any condition to sing on Sunday, I decided to have a bit of a, well, to sleep in. And then I went to my parents' house, and it turned out I was there before them. But I had a key, so I let myself in. And then my mom and dad came home, and it didn't take very long until my mom came with the egg to me and was like, maybe you can open it twice, because you really, you know, you're not supposed to have it until after we eat. But maybe you can open it twice. And she was very anxious to show me what she had gotten me. And it was this. Maybe it's a bit too warm as it comes out. It's a bit more burnt. Yeah, something more like that. And so I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's beautiful. What is it? And then so, because she had placed it so that the label was under the yarn. So I dug it around, and it's Mono's lace. And my mom was like, and it even says who dyed it inside, and it's really, really cool. And I guess you all know about this, but it's like a really it's a really cool yarn, you know. It's a non-profit organization which assembles over 400 artisans in cooperatives scattered throughout the countryside of Uruguay. The aim of the organization is to bring economic and social opportunities to rural women. I mean, that's so cool, just in itself. And this yarn is really, really beautiful. So it's baby alpaca, 70% baby alpaca, 25% silk, and 5% cashmere. And it's kettle dyed, so I mean, it's just gorgeous. And I want to show you that there are those, it's both lighter and darker streaks, but it's not as warm as it shows up there. It's more like this. So this is 50 grams, and it's approximately 400 meters. So I was, you know, just casting around for what am I gonna do, because this obviously needs to be a shawl, and I would love it to be a pretty big shawl. And I have not decided yet, but I was thinking, because this is so gorgeous, I just need to make it something, you know, awesome. So I was just thinking, because I knew I had that yarn in my stash, some leftover, maybe I could pair it with that to get more, you know. So I looked at it, and I think that it really would work. This is Drops lace, leftover from the Vortex shawl that I made I started it a year ago pretty much, and I finished it in September, I believe. Which is just like a grey beige color. So it's compared to this, this is a neutral, but I think it goes really well. And so this is this is alpaca and mulberry silk. And since this is alpaca, silk, and cashmere, it does go together, even though this is a bit more luxurious than this, but I think it goes well together. I haven't decided what to make with this yet, and I haven't decided if I will pair it up, but it's good to know that I can do something excuse me, to get some more yardage out of that. So I was super excited to get this, and I posted it to Instagram as well, so you might have seen it before, but it's just amazing. And my mom was so excited as well, so I got that. Haven't started, as I said, anything with it yet. But that was a yarn acquisition that I made. I didn't make it, I got it. Let me just glance up at the clock. Well, it's gonna be a bit longer today since I didn't record last week. So for works in progress, and also some yarn acquisition. But first I'm gonna show you this, the big stole-like shawl that I'm making. It's growing. And it's not, I mean, it looks the same, so it's not all that exciting to show you, but it's a lace. Repeats. I did put, just to feel as though I made some progress. I didn't really show this to you last time I recorded, but just to feel that for me to feel that I made some progress, I put this in 2 weeks ago after I had recorded. So I've done this much. It's not, I mean, for 2 weeks it's not super much progress, but I haven't really given this so much attention either, because as you've seen, I've made some other stuff as well. But it's coming along and I like it. I'm using size 5mm needles for this. I've been unsure the last times I've showed you, but I've I've looked it up now, and these are size 5. And the yarn is 2-ply yarn, unnatural, undyed, whatever it's called, from Gotland sheep on Gotland, from the Gotland spinning mill or whatever it's called. So I'm working on that slowly and steadily. Excuse me. And then I had an idea. You know, all this coughing just makes things go on in your throat. And then I had an idea for a pattern that I wanted to make. It's a pair of mittens that are from the unofficial Harry Potter knits. magazine or pattern collection that I haven't made before. It's a paid for collection of patterns, so I'm not going to give too much away, but well, you can see there, it's a small picture, but you can sort of see that on the back of the hand there are all owls, owls, and then on the palm of the hand there are spells. And I can show you this picture where it shows a bit better. So it says like Accio wand or Expelliarmus and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of cute, and I can just show you real quickly. That's part of the chart. So I wanted to make those. And I thought I would use a slightly larger gauge yarn to make them, to size them up. Because I didn't want to start messing with the stitch count in the color work chart and everything. So I thought of it. So I started in a yarn. And as I said, I've used some of the... Where did I put them? Here. I've used some of these needles. Because I started with a yarn and a size needle. And I knit the cuff up and I made a few rounds of the color work, and it didn't work out, so I ripped it out, and I tried another needle, and then I tried another yarn, and it didn't work out, and I ripped it out. So there has been some ripping as well. And then I realized I didn't really have a yarn that I thought would go with it. And then I reassessed my idea and thought that, well, maybe I should just make it with a suggested yarn, which is a sock yarn, or a sock weight yarn. And with a slightly larger needle than I usually do, because I usually make, when I've been making socks with sock yarn and sock weight yarn, sorry, and when I've knitted mittens with sock weight yarn as well, I've been using size 2 mil. So maybe I should use that and just go up a few needles, you know, in needle size. So I decided on that, and excuse me, then I didn't have any I don't have an untouched skein of sock yarn. And like so, example this, for an example this, I'm not sure I have enough, you know, to make a pair of mittens. So I didn't dare using the scraps that I have. Or that is a lie, I do have a few skeins that are untouched, but they I did buy them earlier, or last fall. I showed you them then. They look sort of like this. They are self-strapping. But yeah, so I thought I could use one of them, but I needed a solid to go with it. I just confused myself. Yeah, so I decided that I would get another yarn for that. And so then I went to another store, which is not a yarn store, but it was also sort of a... What did I say before? That the other yarn that is not from a yarn store. Well, a kind of store that has a little bit of everything. And I found this. And the ball band just came off. It's also a sock yarn. It's 75% wool and 25% polyamide. Nothing fancy at all. So it's grey. No, it's not grey. It's beige and brown. So I thought it was sort of, you know, owl colored. So I thought maybe I should use that. So I got it. It was not expensive, so I was like, I'm gonna get that. And then I got another pair of Drops Fable. Another pair? Another ball of Drops Fable in this sort of sky, midnight sky blue or something like that. So this is also 75% wool and 25% polyamide. So in this yarn barf, so I cast on for the cuff. So I just started this yesterday. So I'm using, instead of size 2 mil needles that I sort of usually use for this weight yarn, I'm using 2.75. So I'm not far along at all yet. But I think that this will look pretty good. I mean, it's sort of, you know, owls against the night sky. Yeah, I have a good feeling anyway. But obviously I'm not that far along. When I finished these socks, on Tuesday, I tried to set my mind to being monogamous with this for, well, a couple of days at least, to make, you know, a proper dent in this. But it didn't really work out, so I got this yarn yesterday, which was Thursday, so I just was monogamous with the shawl for one day. So I just cast this on yesterday because I was so excited. So that is what I'm working on, and also some new yarns in. Yeah. I know I shouldn't, but my stash is, I mean really, my stash is not huge. I reorganized part of it, or well, it, a couple of days ago, and I mean I really don't have a lot of yarn. I showed you my entire stash back in early November, late December, October, something like that. And yeah, I'm just making excuses. It's not huge anyway, so I needed that yarn, obviously. And I've been sick. Obviously I needed yarn. I'm not gonna make excuses. I needed yarn. That's just as simple as that. So yeah, I'm very excited to make these, not socks, mittens. And then I'm excited to do something with this yarn, and perhaps in combination with this. And then I have looked for patterns for making a shawl with the yarns from Sun Valley Fibers that I received as a prize from Josh of Sword of Miniature in his 11th prize at Palooza, whatever it was called. So that is what I am looking forward to, but we'll just see. I might come up with something else first, because this feels, you know, sort of so special. I don't just want to stumble across something and just do it. I want to make it something special. Yeah, that is my yarn. One of my favorite things. And this is on the theme, no, it's tomorrow, Saturday, it must be the 11th, right, because it was the 10th today, 11th of April, which is tomorrow when I'm recording this. It's the International Tabletop Game Day. I don't know what it's called in English. I think it's Tabletop Day or something like that. And I love tabletop games so much. I'm hoping, I wrote to a couple of friends of mine saying, you know, tomorrow is the International Tabletop Board Game Day. Just saying. So I'm hoping we're gonna meet up and play something, because I like that. And that is, at least here in Sweden, it's sort of a trend right now. And I think it has to do with all of the other stuff that is going on, that it's sort of a, well, analog, what do you say, like not non-digital, that you should actually, you know, do stuff. You should bake your own bread, you should knit, you should make, you know, grow your own vegetables, and you should play board games. And I think, yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It's actually opened a new board game store in my town a few months ago, I think. I haven't been there yet. But I like that trend. I hope it will be long-lasting, but we'll just have to see. So, play a board game. Dear friends, do it. Or, you know, it could be cards or anything, but play something I was gonna say in reality or real, but video games are as real, obviously, and they are, you know, I am not going to talk anything bad about, so that is not what I'm saying, but play something that you can touch, like the actual game, and hang out with people in the same room, in the same time. Yeah, because I think that's good also. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because I feel my throat is being more and more agitated with me first singing for an hour and then coming home to talk for almost an hour. Yeah, so I should rest my voice actually, because it's important to me. I must be able to sing next week as well, so. Nice to see you again. I really missed you the last week since I spoke to you last. Get in touch with me if you want to. There is the group on Ravelry. Use it if you want to. Be my friend on Instagram and on Ravelry, and like and subscribe here on YouTube if you will. And knit something beautiful, make something ugly, play a board game, drink lots of tea, be careful with the sun, and take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves and to each other. And I'll see you next time. Bye!